quick. Money can't buy happiness. We're gonna figure out if money can buy happiness or not. Here's my stance on it, right? I believe money can get you a lot of freedom and a lot of ability to do things in life. But at the end of the day, happiness is a choice. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much stuff you have, if you don't make the choice to be happy every day, you're not gonna be happy, bro. Like if you don't say, I'm gonna be happy today, you could have the biggest house in the world, you could have the biggest car collection, the most amount of investments, whatever it is. That stuff does not fulfill a person. Fulfillment from a person does not come from that, which is what a lot of what money can get you, right? And it brings a lot of fake people in your life too. Like when you have more money, it tends to be more like it's harder to trust, you know what I mean? So it definitely makes money makes can make your life very difficult, and at the same time it can make it very easy. So it kind of goes both ways, but in my mind, you have to make the decision to be happy, and money is never going to do that for you. You can be the most miserable person in the world, but if you don't make the decision to be happy, you're still going to be the most miserable person in the world. That's where I stand on it.
Can money buy happiness? It's a question that's vexed
We're
humans
gonna figure
for
out. We're gonna see what he
centuries.
thinks. Though we're gonna see what he
From
thinks.
the discontented kings of old to the sad, rich ambition demons surrounding me here in Manhattan. But no matter how many times
Damn, dude, it looks so cold out there.
it's posed in clickbait articles and pop science podcasts, we simply can't seem to find an answer. But I'm about to change that. I'm here at the happiest place on earth, Harvard Business School. I was in this Ivied oasis to meet the man who both wrote a book and talked the TED on money and happiness.
Michael Norton is a professor here at Harvard Business School and a leading behavioral economics researcher. Let's see if he can teach me how to behave. Michael, great to have you here.
Great to meet.
All right, or thank you for having us, rather.
Yeah.
With my characteristically smooth exchange of pleasantries out of the way, it was time to turn the screws on Professor Norton and get my answer.
How much money do I need to be happy?
How much do you have?
Not enough.
It's a tricky question, actually. So it's hard to know the exact dollar amount.
I would say around. If they're actually trying to put a dollar amount on it, I'm gonna say like peak happiness in terms of dollar, just as of studies, right? I'm gonna say like around 150 right now. In the current day, I would say like 150 grand a year. It's probably the happiest people. Maybe more. I don't know though. It's hard to say really. Around 150.
But what we do know is
that's what I'm
when we
gonna
ask people how much they think they need, they typically say 2 to 3 times as much as I have right now.
Damn,
but the
2 to
weird
3
thing is
times.
we can ask people who have $50,000, and they say, if I only had 2 to 3 times more, I'd be perfectly happy. We can also ask people who have $3 million, and they also say, yeah, if I only had 2 to 3 times as much, I'd be happy.
Michael was saying a lot of numbers.
Crazy.
That's for sure.
That's wild, bro. If you make 3 million a year and you're like, oh, only if I had 6 to 10 million a year is crazy. Like, what are you spending? I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, people do it. It's just how people work. I mean, it's how life works, really. I mean, people, they always want more. You know what I mean? It's never really gonna satisfy you as a person. But yeah, that's wild.
But I still wasn't hearing a solid answer. I decided to give him one more try before I used my power to dismiss him with voiceover and move on to another interview with a smarter guy.
So lots of people have looked into the correlation, just straight up, how does money correlate with happiness? And one of the things that we did was we tried to do experiments. So we tried to give people money and have them go do stuff,
this is interesting.
and then see which thing makes people happy and which thing doesn't make people happy. So we were trying to get at not so much how much you make in a year and how happy you are, but what you do with it. The first thing people think to do with money is spend it on themselves.
What are you doing if, for a study, this guy comes up to you and is like, hey, we want to give you 100 grand, just cash. We want to record what you do with it. What are you doing right now? Man, it is true, but you always think like, man, what have I been wanting forever? Like, like go buy a house or a car. That would be hard. That would be hard for sure. I mean, I think the smart thing to do is obviously like invest it, but who's doing that realistically? Like most people are probably just gonna go buy a car or a house or go blow it all. Probably they'll have it. I bet 90% of people spend it in the first year.
And the problem is, if you look at the data, it's not that spending money on yourself makes you unhappy. It's really just there's not a strong relationship. If we say, have you ever felt happy when you give to charity or give to someone? People say, yeah. And then they say, have you done it lately? And they say, no.
What is a harder concept for business school students to grasp, happiness or giving people money?
I couldn't help but feel like me and Professor Norton simply weren't on the same page. I was explicitly asking him just how much money I needed to make to finally achieve happiness, and he wouldn't stop talking about giving money away. It made no sense. I needed to find someone with as impressive of credentials, but who would actually give me a hard number on which to set my sights.
There's a very famous paper that concluded that there was this plateau between money and happiness beyond around $75,000.
Now
you
we're
go.
talking.
All right. So $75,000 is the plateau between happiness and money, bro. That's a lot lower than I thought. How long ago was this study? That's kind of what I want to know. Like, if this study was like a long time ago, I could see that, because nowadays it would be right around 100, little over 100 maybe. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how long ago this study was done.
Matt Killingsworth is a senior fella at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, where he runs one of the world's largest studies on human happiness. Wharton is an institution of great history, and
It's
more
definitely an interesting
importantly,
topic.
a place where
Definitely
many
an
people
interesting
learn how
topic.
to accumulate wealth until happiness oozes out of their pores and the pores of their progeny.
I ran this really big study that had a fantastic measure of kind of the levels of happiness that people experience, and I saw no evidence for a plateau at all. It just keeps going up, modestly but very steadily.
These squirrely
Really?
academics wouldn't stop overcomplicating the issue, but I could play their game too.
You found that money and happiness have a logarithmic relationship. Is that different than a polyamorous relationship?
Maybe you could combine them.
I've
Especially-
tried. So,
Maybe you just need to earn more money, and then you can see what you can put together.
but when you describe a logarithmic relationship, what is that? Is this what you're talking about? or-
yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's a big word for me.
It's a big word.
So-
I don't know what it means, honestly.
Logarithmic basically means we're going up in proportional increments. So you could imagine each of these hash lines being a doubling of income. What we used to think was happening is that happiness rises up to around this level, happiness rises, and then doesn't really improve. And essentially what I've found is that
If you're single in America and you make over $120,000 a year, you realistically do not need more than that. I mean, I guess it depends on where you live too. But if you live in like an average income place around the world, like an average cost of living area in the United States, I don't think you really need more than 120,000 a year for a single person. I mean, that's more than enough. So I mean, this chart really makes sense to me, because you think about it, like, you know, you're always behind on bills or things you need or things you want. You reach that mark of, you know, 75,000, which is probably pretty close to that point where, okay, now you can buy like everything you need, a little bit of what you don't need, you know what I mean, and have a little extra left over at the end of the year. And then from there, it's just you have more left over at the end of the year, at the end of the day, right? It's never like, oh, like, I mean, a guy making 100,000, guy making 200,000, they have the same needs basically, right? They need a house, food, water, electricity. So they have kind of the same upfront cost, and then the rest of it's kind of luxury cost, you know what I mean? Whatever else you're going to spend your money on, and then whatever you're going to have left over at the end of the year. Whereas, you know, the $100,000 guy is going to have less than the $200,000, but they're all going to have leftover. Whereas below the line, it's almost like every dollar you get is going towards something that's going to drastically improve your life, you know?
but
Definitely
instead it
interesting
just
study.
keeps going up in a straight line.
So people here in general
Wow.
are a lot happier than people here.
They're happier on average. So, you know, I'm squishing all of this down.
Despite the squishing, I was making progress. I now had incontrovertible proof that the
So
more
just make all the
you
money,
had,
guys. That's
the
all we need to
happier
know.
you got. And the goal was to get
Make
as
all the
far
money.
up this polyamorous red line as possible. But what would it actually feel like to be up there in the top right corner of this whiteboard? I asked Matt if his research had turned up an answer.
So
There are
what
a
would
lot
that
of
be,
things we can
400K
run
a year?
experiments with, but money is actually quite a bit trickier because it's so darn expensive to run an experiment where you give people enough money to matter for happiness. But there's a natural experiment. They're called lotteries, and there have been some really
Yeah,
great
that is
studies
true.
that have
That
found
is true.
that the people who play and win are not only happier than the people who play and don't win, but they followed up 5 or 10 years later and found they continue to be fairly substantially happier.
So we got to meet a lottery winner, or we have to win the lottery.
That would be interesting.
I'd be curious to see like that kind of, so that study, what he just said kind of makes sense, bro. So like most people go around, they're like, man, only if I could get a break, only if I could get that one chance to have a little chunk of money and I'll be okay. You know what I mean? And everybody's like hoping for that one thing, you know, or trying to build towards that one thing. And then when somebody just throws you it, like, here, take it, you know, and you're not ready for it, I wonder if that actually affects their mindset on life a little bit. Like, kind of resets it a little bit. I feel like if someone just threw something at me and was like, here, take it, like it's free, like that's going to reset my mental place where it's like, whoa, well, okay, well, now I have this thing, and I'm really, if they figure out that, wow, okay, this didn't really do what I thought it was going to do, this didn't make me any happier, then I can see how that makes them overall happier, because now you realize, that it's not those things that are going to make you happy. It's a mindset, really. But I'll be curious if that's why the lottery winners, because I don't know why the lottery winner after, because don't they say lottery winners, like 90% of them spend the money like in the first year or two, and then they're broke after that. They're back to making what they used to make. Like they did nothing with the money. Like 90% of them. So if 90% of them are also happy, like 10 years down the road, I wonder if that's just because they got their break. You know what I mean? If they kind of realized they got their break and it's not like they were screwed their whole life. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
If one thing was clear at this point in the investigation,
Kinda
it was that lottery winners are happy as shit. So I had to speak to one myself. Timothy Schultz won the lottery in 1999, winning over $20 million in almost a day.
Damn,
so I'm here
dude.
to speak to him right in our studio.
20 million a day is crazy.
My first question for you right out of the gate, Timothy, are you happy?
Most days, I try to be happy.
That's
I
such
think so.
That is such a hard question to ask somebody though too. I feel like you can't even come out and just ask them, "Are you happy? Are you not happy?" Because like that's like 90% of people are just gonna say they're happy, and even if they're not happy, you know what I mean? You almost have to like have a roundabout way of getting to the question that like circles it almost instead of just going right for it. Because I feel like 90% of people aren't gonna just say, "Oh, I'm happy" or "I'm not happy." You kind of need like another like set of questions to get there.
There it was, the look of someone who had enough money to be happy. And here was my chance to find out how he did it, so that one day I might look in the mirror and see my own face wearing that grin.
So you interview a lot of lottery winners. Would you say the majority of the people that you interview are also happy?
Most people that I've met and interviewed overwhelmingly have been happier, but it's not a black or white situation. I mean, the truth is,
Right. That
That-
makes sense.
if you win the lottery, if you win a major prize, then who you are on the inside is really what matters, because who you are on the inside can be magnified. And if you're
Right.
this
That
terribly
makes sense.
unhappy person on the inside, you might still be unhappy after the exhilaration of winning wears off.
Oh no.
That makes
I came
sense.
all
That makes
this
sense.
way only for Timothy, the podcast host / lottery winner, to tell me that the very nature of my investigation might be flawed. If the true solution to happiness lay inside the soul rather than the wallet, I stood no chance. My soul is as black
That's what I'm
as
saying.
my
I feel like
outside
it's a
is white.
choice. You know what I mean? Like if
Timothy,
you're
for the
happy
purposes
broke,
of
you're
this
gonna be happy
interview,
with money.
I'm gonna
That's
need
for sure.
I'm gonna need you to tell me that winning the lottery is necessary. I'm gonna need to be incredibly wealthy to be happy. Because if I'm not incredibly wealthy, what's even the point?
Right. No, that makes
know?
sense. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to basically, yeah, I mean, you can do, I mean, the truth is you can do anything, whether you are incredibly wealthy or not. Dreams can come true, but it helps.
Wow,
It's a huge
motivational.
leg up if you have lots of money, I mean, or win a lottery, because you
True.
have more opportunities, your quality of life can be better.
Good enough for me.
True.
I now had my marching orders. Over the course of my journey, my head learned lots of information, much of it unsatisfactory
richer.
for men who enjoy talking a lot with their hands. In order
The
to
rich
be
get
happy,
richer.
I've been told I needed 2 to 3 times as much money as I had. I've been told that true happiness lay in giving money away. I've been told I needed $75,000. Then I've been told I needed more than $75,000, ideally as much more as possible. Finally, here was something I could act on.
Yeah, these
I
studies are all over the
conclusively
place,
learned
huh?
that in this messy business of happiness,
These studies are
winning the
all over the
lottery
place.
was an undeniable leg up, and I'd also learned how to do it.
There's many people that have won mass amounts of money after intentionally trying to manifest jackpots. They put the energy out there. They believed that it was going to happen. They visualized it. They
Yo,
felt
what
it.
is this guy talking
And
about?
then it happened in real life. And whether you think that's a coincidence or not, I respect you, but it's interesting.
I need to start manifesting, is
Yo.
what you're saying.
And with that, I knew that finding the right amount of money to make me happy wouldn't be difficult in the slightest. All I had to do was
bro, it looks so
manifest
windy.
winning the lottery. Can I get one jackpot fortune, one of the number
Manifest
21s?
it, baby.
Thank you.
They make so much money on lottery tickets, it's unreal.
And do you have cigarettes? That's $30? Golly. A $5 game would be great. One. So in order to find happiness, I encourage everyone to go out and do the
Hit him with the
sensible thing.
golly.
Buy a scratch ticket from
Hit
the
him with
first
the
newsstand
golly.
you find on the street. Hi. I'm so sorry. Can I get another one of these? Then buy another? No, I didn't win. I don't think I won. And another. Hi. I'm sorry. Can I get 2 more of those? Thank you. And another.
Damn, bro, he's gonna win one of these.
I think I won.
How much?
$5.
You want one more ticket or you want cash?
Ooh, this is a hard question.
Another ticket would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, double it up. Double or nothing. Come
How
on.
do you go about measuring happiness? And would you say that mine is normal size?
As far
Yo.
as I can tell from this far away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does a raise make you
Damn.
happier?
That's
It
a great
probably
question, bro.
would,
That is a great
at least
question.
by a little bit.
Right. Okay. You can say no.
Yeah.
You can say
Oh, would it make me happier?
just for like, because I have employees, so you can just say like it does.
I see. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. I love good work, bro. This is such a good channel.